Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. We got Ian Boyd. We got Justin Wells. We're talking Texas Longhorns football. We're 16 days away from the season. Could be Michael Taft days away. Could be Arch Manning days away. But we are just over 2 weeks away. Got a scrimmage this upcoming Saturday. Got a lot of notes to talk about. Got a lot of, theory to talk about as far as position and usage, and we'll talk a little bit about some Texas high school football and some recruiting as well. So thank y'all for joining in. Thank you, Roaster, Brett Nelson, Horn in the USA, AR, Jason Horn for life, Jermichael Finley days. That's another good one. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If y'all are tuning in and have not done so yet, go to InsideTexas.com. $1 will get you access to all our best info, all our best recruiting intel, everything that you need to get ready for the season. You can get that for just $1. That's where you go. You also get a full year of access to The Athletic if you join. And also buy Paul Wadlington's Stinking Texas Football. Every position, every player, every single SEC team, every team on the schedule, and a look at college football as well. Go buy that. It's in our description. You're not going to want to miss out on that. And today we will be going over, and gotta remember this, James Street days. Got to get that picture, Justin, of Darrell Royal talking to James Street right before. Oh, that had to have been the 67. It was the first Cotton Bowl. There we go. So that's one to look at. Ian, you and I kind of hit one of the same topics over the course of this past week in a little bit different ways, about the importance of the tight end position. And we'll talk first about maybe maybe we won't talk with Ian about the tight end position.
Listen, Ian's kids, I think, are back in school. So Ian's back to partying. Ian's back to having fun at home.
There we go.
I tried to scroll.
Well, don't do that.
And it did the deal where it just whipped the whole page back.
I hear you. But you and I kind of both talked about tight end over the past few days, and we'll start with kind of defining terms and who could do what, because Steve Sarkisian, it was something I asked him about, and he mentioned, if when they go two tight ends, they can have two tight ends look a little bit different. Talk about what the H and the Y are first, and I'll zoom in on that before we kind of get into what's going on, maybe personnel wise.
The Y is usually the main guy. Whichever tight end or whichever inside skill player is going to take on the most blocking is your Y. So if you're an 11 and you have a slot on the field, the slot is the H, and the tight end, no matter where he is the Y. If you're in 12 personnel, the Y is the guy that's on the line of scrimmage, with his hand in the dirt, usually. And then the H is the guy that's off the ball and can move around. So the H's have been Cade Brewer in 21 with Jared Wiley as the Y. In 2022 and 2023, Helm was the Y and Jatavian Sanders was the H, unless Helm was on the bench and then Sanders was the Y. And then last year, Helm was the Y and Juan Davis was the H.
So you can kind of see, Justin, why Texas recruits so many different types of player at tight end. Jeff Banks has talked about varying skill sets. It's why Texas, we talk on and on about Mark Bowman being everything at that tight end position. But it's why, when you look at Texas and look at the tight end position and all the players that they've recruited, they recruit a variety of players just because they can fit them in certain roles and put them in certain situations to help them succeed.
Yeah, and I think it also makes them more versatile. It makes them more flexible. They can run different personnel out of that, like Ian's talked about. That's why I like a guy like Michael Terry III. He's playing wide receiver. He's not playing tight end, but he's a guy that could be envisioned in that role. But they see him more at wide receiver right now. But he would be that flex kind of guy, that Jack Injury, cerebral, athletic type, where you'd have probably Spencer Shannon as closer to the line of scrimmage as your inline type. It just makes them, I think, more versatile and makes the guys a little bit more valuable.
It's very peculiar just to see, you know, we can find all these different types, but there's still just two jobs on the field. And I think, Ian, they kind of, one thing I took from Sark is maybe they might toy with the idea of 13, maybe throw 3 tight ends out there in certain situations, but that's maybe something they say for special situations.
Uh,
You're not big on it.
I don't know why you would do that, honestly.
All right, fair enough.
We'll see. I mean, maybe that's a good idea.
So, go ahead.
If you want to play hide the receiver, like 2008 Oklahoma used to play some 13, and it was just so that they could get Jermaine Gresham matched up on little people to throw him the ball. But that team had like blockers. Like they had a fullback and they had another tight end that was like just a big blocker. And Texas, almost all their tight ends that they have that we expect to see are like receivers.
Right.
So it's hard. I'd have to think about that. I don't know why that would bring value other than playing Livingston, Mosley, Moore, Wingo.
Fair point. So on the screen, you can see all the different tight ends Texas has. Scholarship tight ends did not include Ridge Barker. And this is in number order. That's why Jack Endries is last. That's why Nick Townsend's on top. But you can see like you mentioned, the Y is the tight end who's always on the field, 11 personnel. But if they are in 12 personnel, you got 2, and you can have different fits. But Justin, it kind of starts that with Jack Endries, more so probably than any other player, he's the guy who could probably do both. And I know when you see 6'4", 236, it's like maybe you don't want him doing both, but that's just kind of the type of player and the type of investment you make. You're going to have to use him at both spots. At least,
don't get dismayed by the size there. Tight ends are they're a different animal. You don't have to have a 275-pound tight end to be a good blocker. You can be a good blocker at 225. A lot of that is technique and effort. Endries is just valuable because he's experienced. This is his 3rd team. He's a 4th-year junior. Like, this guy understands the ropes of both sides. Endries is unique because he understands there's a physicality to the position in addition to being a third down valve, to being a weapon, to a red zone mismatch of that sort. Endries understands the rationale that, man, you're going to have to bring some physicality too. Because if you want to play tight end in the league, ask Gunnar Helm. If you want to play tight end in the league, that's great that you can hurdle cats. You're going to have to head up with people. You're going to have to hit. And I think that's what makes Endries valuable. By the end of the season, Nick Townsend is going to be an H or a Y. It's not going to be one letter for Nick Townsend. Way too physical, way too athletic, way too talented, way too beautiful. By the end of this season, I can't wait to see the maturation of Nick Townsend and his growth. But Endries is there because of experience, and you don't have to be a big tight end to be a good blocker. You just have to be smart and willing.
I think with Jordan Washington, like he's 6'4", 264 right now, and Jeff Banks has kept saying he's just got to get better at blocking, better in that run game.
Right, that's a great example.
It's not just you're big, it works. Like you have to actually make it work because Jordan Washington, if you go watch his Langham Creek film, he didn't really do much tight end stuff. So it looked a lot different. He's there as the Y. I think if they have him and Endries on the field, Washington will be the Y, Endries the H. But Ian, one thing that Justin's written, that Eric's written, is that Spencer Shannon is fighting to be that number, basically that other tight end, the co-starter at tight end in 12 personnel.
They love to have a 12 personnel set where they can just go out there and run the ball. Even if you want to load, like if Texas is winning the game in the 3rd quarter, and Sark's like, let's run some clock and put this game away and wear a team down. You need to have tight ends on the field that can block because the opponent is trying to catch back up. So they're going to load the box. So you need to be able to, this is the classic, we want to run the ball when the other team knows we're going to run. And to do that, you need bigger blocking tight ends, or else they're just going to load the box and force you to throw. And so Shannon is the hope for him this season has basically always been that he can be the guy that comes out there when Texas just wants to run the ball and go home. And that he can block teams when they know the run is coming because he can line up and handle a defensive end or whatever. I think it's possible that he could do that. I feel like I kind of need to see this a little bit. But
if only there were preseason games, right?
Yeah. I know we've talked about this. We don't need to talk about it now. But the idea of having a spring game scrimmage against like a UTSA or something is such an awesome idea. I hope
it's going to happen.
And I mean, baseball already does it. I think baseball already does it. I think real quick, you may see pushback just because like what happens with when a kid at UTSA rushes for 200 yards and the team's like, hey, why don't you stay on this sideline? Don't get back on the bus. Like that may be a risk, but it could work both ways too.
By that point, Joe, I think they'll have only one window for the portal.
Yeah.
And so whatever happens in a scrimmage isn't going to bite you on the other end. Then again, then someone will have a breakout scrimmage and then they'll sue and then it'll go to court and then they'll try to set a precedent and they're going to do this song and dance until we're buried and dead.
Justin, what do you think about this from our Jacob Woodard when talking about Jason McIndoe, who coached? They called it cowboy backs. They would kind of use them in a multifaceted way, similar to how Texas uses them in a multifaceted way, but it was essentially tight end. What do you think about how Jason McIndoe is going to make an impact on Texas this year?
I mean, they're going to have an intensity to them. They're going to be you can say a de facto giant fullback if you want to. I was watching something on Lorenzo Neal yesterday about fullbacks.
I saw that.
And that, man, that's just a different mentality, guys. Like, that's just that guy. It's just funny to see someone so cool and calm, a gigantic, bowling ball. And so, yeah, I think you could listen. I'll tell you one thing. Emory Winston has, if they want to run that, some of those packages that they did a couple years ago, let me tell you something. Emory Winston could do some of that. Like he's athletic enough to where he could play some fullback. He could line up and lay out some people. And that's what makes this bunch of guys so unique. Like everyone, it's like they're all sort of, Marvel characters, and they all bring their own sort of weapons. They all bring their own sort of, strengths and things like that. And I think that's why Jeff Banks and those guys haven't gone crazy. Jack Andrews obviously coming in is tremendous, but like the rest of it's inexperience. But they're all unique. They all have things they can do. And I think this year they've got a Jack Andrews that is going to be able to bridge that gap for the next year at how good the position is. And then next year, you're going to be able to give the keys to Jordan Washington and Nick Townsend. That's going to be cooking with gas. That's going to be like really excelling at that level. And so this is a unique cast of characters.
I think it stinks that Winston is banged up and may have something that keeps him out of action for a little bit. And I've always kind of held like you have 85 scholarships. There's room in that 85 for a fullback. I think if you have that type of goal line package, you can use that type of player. He's going to do more than that, but you can find a limited guy even. And I don't think Amari Winston's limited, but you can find a more limited, bludgeon piece to be a fullback. And he has a home on an 85-man roster.
Oh, yeah. I wish Texas went for more of those kind of guys. They have these Winston is kind of a I keep saying this. He's kind of a throwback to the dudes Oklahoma would always have, like Dimitri Flowers or that other guy that was like hurdling Texas defenders in the Red River shootout.
I know who you're talking about. His name.
I called him the Sasquatch. I can't remember what that guy's name was.
His name slips my mind.
Yeah, they had like 5 guys like that over a decade. I like those guys that are like just the good athletes, move them around. I also wish the Texas would get like a bludgeon, like Michigan's Max Bradison, like a guy that just like wants to go in there and be Lorenzo Neal, and he doesn't care if he touches the ball, and he's excited to just go smack people. I have a question, Joe. I'm looking at this table, and I'm curious if either of you have seen Will Randall in person in the last year.
Will Randall's not 6'6".
I know. I saw that. I'm like,
he's about 6'3", and he's about 6'3.5". I don't know where these numbers come from.
If he was 6'6", we would have known.
6'3.5" seemed generous out of high school. He could have grown.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'4". Look, he's with shoes. He's 6'4". I don't even know if he's 240. He's probably in that range. He's probably 240. He's a big kid, but he's not 6'6" big.
He was really skilled in high school, and Texas only gets tight ends that showed skill in high school. But that makes it tough when you want a dude that will be physical.
Yeah,
like one of the better ones that everybody's forgotten that Justin will remember really well that Texas had was Caleb Blewett. When Deontay Foreman ran for 2,000 yards, an enormous factor in that was that they moved defensive end Caleb Blewett to tight end, and he was all about it.
Yeah. Whenever you go from D end to tight end, your days get better.
Yeah,
he was uber athletic, uber aggressive, very contact. Look, he was relished the contact. He even caught a couple touchdowns that year. Had a big play against Baylor. Had a big play against OU. Caleb Blewett had the man from Brenham had a good little career.
But he wasn't trying to be Travis Kelce, and he didn't.
No, he was just trying to hit people.
He just wanted that. Yeah, I think, man, I really feel like football. A lot of football teams could be better if they tried to look for that at the tight end position. Again.
I wish Juan Davis was more like that because he had the mold of that guy. Juan was just a little less aggressive.
I think that they played Juan Davis out of necessity and not out of full on.
I think they played him out of Juan Davis. I think they played him out of trust.
I think so too. He was a great soldier, but like he wasn't. He was probably guy number 11 out of the 11 on the field.
100% of the time.
He was a willing blocker though. Yeah, Miller.
Yeah, listen, Blewett. I don't know. No, he wasn't willing like Blewett. Blewett looked.
No, not like Blewett.
Yeah. And people need to understand. Blewett was a really good athlete in high school. I'm not knocking Juan. I'm just telling you, Caleb Blewett was a very skilled guy in high school. Multi sports, especially baseball. Baseball, that kid was sneaky good.
We'll get to a little bit more coming from the tight end position. But first, got to show some love to our sponsor, of course. That is Academy Sports and Outdoors.
All right. Who's ready?
I'm open.
Oh, meant to star that, but we can go with this one. Justin, who is your favorite 2026 class other than Texas? For me, it's Notre Dame. Balance at all positions. Got Osborne, Walton, Dunham at edge. What class do you kind of like right now? I think that's a good one.
It's a really good question, Ryan. I need give me. I actually saw that a couple minutes ago, and I was trying to think of one, and then we started. I was going back and forth in the conversation. I mean, he's got a good start with the Notre Dame one. Like I really like Notre Dame's class. I love Javian Osborne. I love Caden Finley. Their O-line haul is really good. I mean, Notre Dame is a good one to start with. I got to be honest with you. I really like Texas. I really like their class. Now that they got Cooper, now that they've got the D-line locked up, I really like Texas. They're going to add another edge. They'll either bring in a Landon Barnes or a DeMond Lewis, somebody of that sort. They're going to add another edge. I really like Texas. But if I had to grab another one, I guess I would probably lean towards Notre Dame. I mean, you can't go wrong with Georgia when you get the number one quarterback in the country. You can't go wrong with
number two. He's
number
two.
two. That's right. He's behind Diabell now. You can't go wrong with Oregon's group. They got a really – I love that they've got the best offensive tackle in the country, in my opinion, in Ian Nacho. That guy's going to be a lottery pick in 3 years. He's going to be hugging Roger Goodell. I think Oregon. I'd pick Oregon because I'd make Jalen Lott play his natural position, a corner, and I'd watch him flourish and go in the first round in 3 or 4 years because he played corner where he belongs, where I think he can be an All-American. Ian Nacho, some of those other guys. I'd probably take Oregon's class.
To keep going with more about how tight end fits into something Ian wrote today, but a few more questions. Noah Grubbs, why is Ohio State favored? Home
They're at
team?
home.
Home team. And here's the thing,
Yeah,
like,
they're number 2.
yeah, it's not it's not like it's like 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Like
They all mesh together.
Yeah, Ohio State's still really good. Being number 1 doesn't, it doesn't do anything.
What is the line anyway? 1.5, 2?
I haven't actually looked at it yet.
Is it 3? Is it a field goal? Because you usually get a field goal for it being home. So if it's 3, that to me would indicate it's probably a push.
We use BetMGM lines these days, so let me double check because I think
is that a sponsor?
I think it is with On3. I think the official provider for
2.5.
2.5, yeah.
Well, let me find it. Let me find it from our beloved sponsor.
Yeah, hey, I love learning about beloved things that day.
Scroll. What are we doing?
You learn about it.
I don't care about week 0. I do care about week 0. Okay, yeah, 2.5.
Week
48.5 is over under.
We get a better name.
That would make Texas a favorite on a neutral site.
Yes, it would.
And also,
go ahead.
Paul's written about this on Inside Texas, which we should all be subscribed to because it's like $1 right now. There's not like a runaway favorite in college football. Texas is like a de facto number 1. They formed a coalition government to be prime minister. It's not like, it's not like an overwhelming number of people.
It was 28, 20, 10, 5, 1, 1, 1. Like votes are split. Speaking of split, 57% of the money at BetMGM on the spread is on Ohio State. 53% on the money line is on Texas. And granted, that's because of juice. I'm sure has a little bit to do with it, but there's more higher outright win bet percentage for Texas than there is spread bets for Ohio State. Just something to track. Ian, this one's good for you. Are we not making a big enough deal that Jim Knowles left Ohio State? Sark's 0-2 against them. That counts Oklahoma State. That counts the Cotton Bowl. That's also, a multi-million-dollar defensive coordinator, and there aren't a ton of those. I think the highest paid defensive coordinator. How big of a deal is that? And I saw the chat talking about Patricia and, his fit within a Ryan Day program and stuff like that. I don't think anybody's going to argue that the old pencil has forgotten about defense. But Jim Knowles.
What happened to safety? You know how close to the corner of the edge of your eye that pencil is? What if somebody bumps you? What if a referee runs over you CeeDee Lamb style and that
pen
your ear, side of your eye? I have never been a fan of the pencil right there because it's too close to the eye. We're not playing with safety, fellas.
Ian, what do you think about this one?
It's hard to know what to make of Patricia. I feel like he could be a complete dud, and they're like firing him at midseason.
Or a complete stud.
Or he could be like, oh, there's the dude that Belichick was so eager to hire a couple times. And I really don't know. So maybe, because Knowles was for sure a dude.
Yeah.
And what Knowles was doing was he was experimenting with flyover type coverages and looks, but from a normal 4-down defense instead of the 3-down that the flyover teams all use. And so it would look like they'd have all these guys off, and it'd look like there's all these holes underneath. But you try and run like a slant or something there, as Casey Thompson found in 2021, and all of a sudden the safety is just running downhill and catching the ball on the run and going the other way. He was so good at positioning Caleb Downs to just be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible that Patricia can mimic some of that. We don't really know.
Did he ever have access to like that type of standout safety? Like the thing that made the thing that made Belichick defenses was that every week it was what you needed to do to stop the opponent from a different look with similar personnel, but they would run this defense. They'd run this defense. Did they ever have like a all-pro, better than the rest dude like that at safety to move around and have fun with under Patricia?
Patrick Chung.
Okay.
He was great. He was like a box guy, and he was great. They also had McCourty on the back, who's a different sort of player than Downs. But McCourty was like
McCourty's more of a corner.
Yeah, but he would play. Well, there's two of them. One of them was like
his brother. Right, there were two of them.
One of them was like Diggs, Earl Thomas level back end guy, and he was awesome. Ohio State, I don't think has that, which is good. But they got Chung. What are these people talking trash about Liberty Hill in the comments? What are they talking about?
Well, you're the one that lives there, but you don't go. You're not in the Liberty Hill High area. Also, you're in the other school.
Yeah.
When's the last time they played?
Probably
6 years ago, 7 years ago.
No, they probably run into each other in 5A playoffs.
Yeah, but Den Ryan hadn't beat them since.
I don't think they've played.
Den Ryan hasn't beat them since they played 7 years ago.
I'm looking.
That's why you get some of the comments, man. You got to just like go. Because I mean, these are people playing. Yeah. Anyways.
All right, I want to get to what. So, Ian, you wrote about something today that fits in, kind of continuing the conversation we had about innings eaters, and I think that I'm not big on cross-sport comparisons, to be honest with you, but I think this is a perfect analogy because you talk about how you have to be ready to play a 16, 17 game season. And your example is perfect to start off with, the old knuckleballer Tim Wakefield.
Yeah. I don't know how many people remember Tim Wakefield.
I remember him before he was a knuckleball pitcher.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah, he had to reinvent.
He was a prospect with the Pirates.
Of course, Justin does. Yeah, I think I remember reading about that. When I was a kid, I lived very briefly in Connecticut before we moved back to Texas, and so I was like a Red Sox fan for a long time. Now I just don't even care about baseball really. And Wakefield always in the back of my mind, and he threw the knuckleball. If people don't know what that is, it's like you grip it and get the knuckle on the ball. And when you throw it, you don't have to throw it as hard. And the goal is to throw it in a way where the ball doesn't spin. And so the batter has no cue on where
nobody does. That's part of the allure. Nobody knows where it's going.
The catcher doesn't either.
Yeah. Yes. It's a difficult, and the ball will just kind of get over there and then just kind of drop in unpredictable timing and unpredictable angles. But the big thing was that he had this one pitch. It was awesome, the knuckleball, and it didn't require a ton of exertion to throw it. So he was like never injured. He could pitch on short rest if you needed. And he pitched into his 40s because of the nature of the ball. He was never like an ace. He was never a guy where it's like game 7, we're giving the ball to Wakefield and we feel great about it.
He was once, and it didn't work out very well.
When was that?
03. They left him in.
That's
and then,
Pedro.
Oh, you're right. No, no. Aaron Boone hit his home run off Wakefield, I think. Keep going.
It was off Wakefield.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Aaron Boone's shot.
I blocked out that memory. I almost quit watching baseball after that game.
Hey, a lot of Cubs fans did 2 days before.
Yeah. And then I watched in 04, and it was the best thing ever. And then I was like, I think I'm good. I think baseball offered me all it can offer me.
Baseball was fun in 04.
Oh,
I know it was Boston's first time to win it in 100 years. Baseball was fun in 2004.
So
there's a ball that Albert Pujols hit.
Eating innings on a football field.
Oh, yeah.
There's still a ball flying, and there's still a ball in flight right now.
Let's get to football. Come on.
Yeah, it's too good, though. It was too good, Joe, to not reminisce on that slider that didn't slide.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Brad Lidged.
Yeah. My dorm mates were all up in arms about that home run.
I just remember going, "Oh my god!"
Joe really doesn't want to talk about this after pain. Okay.
I don't mind. We need to get to football, but you make up.
We got an hour and a half to feel. We're fine.
You make a good point here with Riley Leonard in that. Remember, Riley Leonard he had the Quinn Ewers ankle brace extraordinaire on at the end of last year, and he even missed some time in the semifinal game, and his backup came in and Jelly performed pretty capably, but you don't want the backup in. So, Ian, you want to make sure that it doesn't always apply at quarterback, but you want to make sure that whether it is quarterback or other positions, you want to have some times where they're not always asked to do everything on every game over the course of what could be a 15-game season.
Yeah, you like to be able to – Sark in particular likes to be able to run out a ton of well-designed plays that involve different players on the roster and have the other team really confused and they don't know what's going on. And then a guy is just like running free and it's like the quarterback's primary reads. There's all this stuff going on, but the quarterback's just throwing easy touchdown passes. They're getting easy runs for touchdowns. And it's all because of multiplicity and design and play calling. And that stuff will run real dry when you play like a Georgia or an Oklahoma that has scouted the heck out of you and knows when you put different players on the field what your intentions are and what you're trying to do. And then they'll sniff it out and destroy it because the players are often too limited to beat them without like subterfuge. But you can give your first few opponents hell. You can give Ohio State hell, and you can just coast through easy games with that kind of play calling. What I mean is like you play 13 personnel maybe, and you're doing it so that you can throw the ball to Jack Injuries. And the other team doesn't know, when they're in 13 personnel, it means they're trying to throw to Jack Injuries like this or like this. And then you bust out 21 personnel and Niblet is in and out of the formation and you don't know where the ball's going. Or you get into 12 personnel with like Townsend and Injuries and you're like throwing to the tight end out of the backfield. Texas has all these guys that are extremely dangerous in limited roles. If you can create limited roles for them. Like Townsend has really unique speed at tight end. Injuries is an extremely skilled pass catcher. Niblet is maybe the fastest guy on the team.
Yes.
And so you can tell just from the practice reports and from Sark's comments that his brain is going overdrive, just drawing up all these creative little plays to feature what those guys are best at. And then to just build all these different packages where it's like, this package is going to highlight Niblet's strengths. And until teams know what he can and cannot do, it's going to murder them. And whenever they get wise to what we're trying to do or what his limitations are, maybe it runs dry. But we're going to eat a ton of innings like Wakefield did with his knuckleball, just with the confusion and with the multiplicity. Because teams are not going to be able to scout all the different things we're doing for the first few weeks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's not. So when I read through this, I thought some of this was about usage, like just snap count, and not necessarily, mixing things up enough to where you're not showing your full arsenal in week 1 or week 4. I thought it was more about getting guys on the field, and I'm sure that's an element to it. But you're trying to say like, okay, let's say Texas knows that it's bread and butter first down chain mover is a 15-yard in route to Parker Livingstone. They're not going to use that over and over and over in the Ohio State game, except maybe in key situations or like against Sam Houston, because they want it to work against Georgia in November. And so what they'll try to do is maybe get it a different way, use that specialty package, Nick Townsend, we know that you can run 11 yards, stop, and they're going to play off of you, but that's all you can do well. That's your one trick at this point, hypothetically. You're
Yeah.
saying to use that type of stuff first, and then when it gets later in the year, then you go and, if you have that 15-yard in route down pat, that's when you use it in the big situations as opposed to just willy-nilly whenever.
Yeah, well, it helps that you don't overexpose your best concepts, like you're saying. The usage thing is actually really big because, like, maybe you could throw the 15-yard in to Livingston a million times, or maybe you could run the ball with Baxter a million times. But if you use that to beat the best teams, if you use that to beat the regular teams on your schedule, you're just running all this tread off your tires that you're going to need when it's like, whatever the key feature is, we really need to run Arch in this game. We really need Baxter to carry the ball 30 times to get over the hump against Georgia, whatever the case may be. So like Penn State, James Franklin every year has like some really clever play design for his best players, and then he uses it all the freaking time to beat all the teams on Penn State's schedule. And then they get to like 3rd and 3 against Ohio State, and he tries to dial it back up. And Ohio State's like, oh, yeah, we know what this is. We've game planned specifically for this play for 3 weeks, Or like Herman would run into that too, because Herman would kind of dip into that bag for the go-to things. And then like Mike Gundy would have it game planned.
Yeah. Herman's go-to was double dig or double slant, and everybody knew it was double slant. But
touchdown play, double slant, quarterback stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, sometimes it is as simple as can you block the guy in front of you, but sometimes there's a tendency. Justin, what about – so like I mentioned, I viewed this as a usage thing. Maybe how might this apply on defense? Maybe you don't deploy your most exotic stuff against Ohio State. You don't deploy enough to win. But not only maybe against Ohio State, you're doing stuff where you're playing your regular defense against the non-conference teams. But then you're trying to cycle in as many guys as possible. And so you don't have to use, to keep the baseball reference going, your premium arms in September.
Yeah, you have to use your premium arms against Ohio State. You show exotic stuff. You do whatever you can to go up to Columbus and get that win. That win, that first game is going to spill over for the next 5 weeks in the Texas football schedule because the next 4 teams aren't going to beat Texas. That win is going to mean everything. I see where you're at. Michigan last year, they didn't unload the clip, so to speak. They showed enough to get the W. They even took the brakes off, I felt like, by like the late part of the first half. It felt like they put the brakes on because they knew there was no way in hell Michigan was going to be able to score the football with that quarterback, with Alex Orji. And so with Michigan, you can get away with it. With Ohio State, you can't. I'm with you, Joe. I agree with you. You only show these in certain examples at certain times. You don't want to show your hand at too much. You still want to have something in your holster for Georgia, something in your holster for Florida in those opponents. But with Ohio State in this specific season, in this specific year, man, you unload that clip week 1. You show things you may not show again. You may show them once. You don't show them again until week 10. I think in this small example with Ohio State, you give it all to them. You show whatever you have to walk out of Columbus with a win. If Texas beats Ohio State in week 1, they will be the number 1 story in sports for the next 4 weeks.
And then they can coast over those next 4 weeks.
Yes, absolutely.
The hardest team they're going to face until they get to Florida is San Jose State, and they'll be fine. Like San Jose State's probably going to make a bowl, but Texas can beat them. Joshy Manning, thank you for this one. Naaman Roberts, isn't that playing it safe? What happened? All gas, no brakes. All right, so here's what happens. Let's say you beat Ohio State 35-28, and you show everything. And then you play San Jose State, and you beat them 77-14, and you show everything. And then you play, who's next? UTEP, and you beat them 49-0, and you still show everything. If you unload everything, and I do a bad job of like taking a point made and then going to the, exact opposite and making that point. Like, no, you shouldn't do that. But like, all gas, no brakes is mentality, not strategy. Like, I know people read that and are like, we're winning every game 56-7, but you can't do that unless you can just kind of do that with plain stuff sometimes, like Ian, you're talking about. Like, Sark did himself a favor, and he didn't help himself at all by making that his mantra.
Naaman needs to go wash himself in the Red River 7 times and be cured of this mindset. You cannot put everything out there on film for Oklahoma and Georgia to study before you play them. You have to hold back for the big
That's common sense.
You have to hold back for the postseason. You hold back for the postseason in terms of usage, and you hold back for the big games in terms of some of your strategy. Like they'll run everything against Ohio State, like Justin's saying. You run everything you've got at Ohio State. But then as you like tinker and develop the next round of bullets, hold those back a little bit. And you see if you can get away with they keep running the Ohio State script against San Jose State and UTEP and whoever until they figure out how to stop it before you get into the next clip.
And then the other thing is, you kind of almost have to start thinking about this like the elite tier of college football. And Paul's writing about the top teams that can win a national championship, the 6 teams that can. Like, you almost have to think about the idea that you could see Ohio State later in the year. Like Georgia. Texas probably had an idea it was going to play Georgia twice, and you want to win that first game, but you don't use 100% of everything because that second game's coming. Like, it's kind of like the NFL and divisional play. Like, if you're Houston and you play Jacksonville in week 8, well, you're going to face them again in week 12. Like, you can't put it all out there. You got to put some out there, and I think that's a consideration. But even though you're not playing a team twice, you have to know that there's an army of people in Georgia's building, in Florida's building, watching every snap. Like, I think when we talk about resources, sometimes it's not understood. Like, you can hire a coach, and I know somebody at a G5 program who's doing this. Like, you hire a coach, and all they do is 3rd and 5 or more. And they look up what teams do on 3rd and 5 to 3rd and 12. And boom, calls this play, call this RPO, call it. Like, everybody knows what the data is going to be there. And you have to make sure that the data that is available to people is reveals as little as possible. There we go.
Jackson Miles says, feel like our personnel groupings would sometimes tip some of our plays. 100%.
Every team has that, though. It's called tendencies. And Sark is actually pretty good about not getting too bad about that.
Sark has been caught a couple times, though. I can remember.
Everyone gets caught.
They ran the dumbest sweep in the 2023 Red River Shootout and got killed in the red zone, where they like went under center and motioned Whittington, and it's like, oh, they're running a sweep. And
Ethan like Downs against Ohio State.
Ethan Downs is like, oh, they're running a sweep, and he tackled Whittington for like a 6-yard loss and killed Texas's chances in the red zone on that drive. And Georgia was eating Texas alive on some of that stuff.
And remember last year, one of the tendency things they would auto fire the nickel, right? Like, and that's, you can see that, and they would do that from a very broad variety of plays, but still, that's like, everybody's got tendencies. Like, if you break tendency every time, then you're just grab bag play calling, and Tim Beck got demoted because he did that. And that speaks to how long we've been doing this. So one other thing, and I kind of went through the usage part of the argument, maybe not so much the deployment, but looking at the defense, and taking the UTSA game, for example, Texas played 30 players saw more than 10 defensive snaps against UTSA last year. Like, you're going to see a lot of players playing. And Ian, that's going to help break tendency too, because what you might do for I don't know, Dalen McCutcheon and his snaps is going to look a lot different than what you do for DeAndre Moore and his.
I don't know if that's the best example. Isn't McCutcheon kind of similar to Moore?
Yes, physically, but who knows if he knows every single part of everything.
Yeah.
Michael Terry and Emmett Mosley, or Michael Terry and Parker Livingston.
I think they'll do a lot of that kind of deal. And that also, another benefit of this is that you get young guys on the field and happy and fed. And then when you bury them in conference play and stop playing them, then like they're not like totally malcontent, you know? Keep these happy. You want to keep those happy young guys on the roster engaged.
Right.
Because you know some of them are going to be like stars of the future, but they can only be stars for now against UTEP or whatever.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our other sponsor, that is Andre the Lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
Got a couple of comments to get to. Sugar Daddy, appreciate you as always. Ryan Nelson, and this is talking about the players, Ian. Just give them more money. That'll make them happy. True to an extent, but Justin, players want to play football. You know, you don't want to get paid to do nothing. Well, okay, hold on. Maybe you do, but they're not doing nothing. So it's not all about money.
It's not all about money. Sometimes it feels like it is, but it's really not. Not yet. When they get to the league, I think it is.
I'll always go back to what Anthony Hill said on the Pivot podcast. And I know college football was not lily white and pure, but for the most part, like, you were just getting your scholarship and you were going to play football. And Anthony Hill said, like, NIL kind of helps me get out of the bed sometimes. You know, if I have this 6 a.m. run and it's like, oh, I know I get direct deposit this month. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go run at 6 a.m. Like, it can be
fantastic perspective.
Yeah, it's a motivating factor, but motivating. It pushes you. Some people only don't see it that way. But there are some who are like, you know what, NIL has helped me, makes me want to play better. There's no there's no incentive performance NIL.
Well, sometimes these kids have a infrastructure where your father raises you. If you have, signed up for a certain thing, you do what you say you're going to do. If you've signed up and you said, all right, I'm going to make this much amount of money to play linebacker for the University of Texas, well, by God, you wake up every morning and that's what you do. Anthony Hill's had that infrastructure. Like that goes beyond football. That's his personal growth. Yeah. And that's why it's so cool listening to him talk. He was mic'd up yesterday. They posted it on the Texas football social media account. Anthony Hill mic'd up. And I could listen and watch that stuff for hours. Like he's good, not only because we know him so well, but because you can hear those things that you want to hear from middle linebackers. Run. Like you want to hear these things that you do. So if Anthony Hill is being honest, which he is, that's cool. If the money is part of your motivation, that's fine. Whatever it takes at this regard, I don't care, to be totally honest with you. But the money is a factor, and hey, I love Anthony for being honest about it.
Yeah. Couple questions, and then we got some cool Texas high school football things to talk about. Coaching changes by the end of the year. Kentucky, Arkansas, Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma. What players from which team could you see being poached? I wrote an article. I do this every year. Like if Texas could just like reach in with the almighty claw, like from Toy Story, and grab somebody and then put them on their team, who they would pick. There's not a lot in Kentucky. Here's the other thing. I don't know if Kentucky's got the desire or the money to make the change, because that is a big buyout for sport number 2 at Kentucky.
And they saved a bunch of money on the basketball end of it. So at some point, that money has to spend somewhere.
The other thing is, as far as house settlement goes, most power conference schools with football are dedicating about 75% to football, 15 to men's basketball. Kentucky is not doing that. Kentucky's putting, I don't think it's more than 50%, but they're doing a big ass chunk to basketball, men's basketball. So, yeah, it's Ian. What do you think about the rest of this this list as far as maybe changes that might be made, and then players from those teams?
Arkansas would be the number one, I think, because they just stacking mediocre seasons with Pittman. He's got to be getting near the end of that contract and what would be expensive. I think Florida and Auburn, people are getting it out over their skis. Like, for one, I think both of those teams are going to be good this year. And so people are penciling in negative results that I wouldn't be so eager to anticipate. And then it's like, if you're Auburn has been investing a lot in Freeze, and I think the people behind him know that he had to completely rebuild the roster. Like, he inherited a bottom of the league level talent roster when he came in there, and they've been taking the slower path because the first 2 years they were not reloading in the portal. They were going out of high school. And so Auburn always has these big expectations, and people are always talking about how Auburn is going to do this or that. I don't think they're going to move that quickly. Florida, very similar story. Everybody knows they're playing just these ridiculous gauntlets. Lagway is only a second-year player. Kentucky, Arkansas, and Oklahoma are the ones that I'd say are more likely. Arkansas, I'm sure
I think Arkansas makes a change.
They probably have some players that are worth.
They were trying to make a change 2 years ago.
They reloaded in the portal this year. So a lot of their best players are going to be guys that are just like immediately back out, graduate. Like fifth-year seniors and stuff.
They'll benefit from Taylor Green having another year, but I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference.
So maybe Green. Oklahoma would have a gazillion guys to poach if they got
a lot of them on defense and an offensive tackle.
Yeah. And I don't know about you. Fasusi is who you're referring to.
Yes, exactly. I am talking about Michael Fasusi.
Yeah, there's nobody else that's going to be like Texas is going to knock the door over for. Yeah, Fasusi, but even the new coach would have to fire Beatonbow, which Nagy may not let them do. So, Kentucky, I bet, is the one that would be worth studying. Like, we should maybe keep some eyes on Kentucky or talk to the KSR guys this coming year, just so we know who to poach or who to write about when Stoops gets fired.
Just tell me who the next Maxwell Harrison is or Deion Walker.
I'm sure they got
in that direction.
But the problem is they're going straight to the NFL. Like, who are the up and coming guys? And the problem for Kentucky this year is there aren't any.
No.
Oh, I bet they got guys that are.
They've got athletes on defense. No matter what, they're going to have a few athletes on defense.
Joe, remember, every other day, I'm looking at some college football roster of a contender, and I see a Purdue guy that's going to start in a major role.
What team are they not on?
Purdue.
Exactly. Like, I don't think there's anybody there. Like, that's why they're being picked to be last.
That I am positive that Kentucky has 5 guys worth poaching at least. They recruit a lot of talented dudes. They just can't put together an overall team that can win.
I just don't think there's anything there. Last thing we'll talk about, rivals. Andy Villa Marzo wrote a good article predicting Texas high school football state champions. We'll go through this real quick. You can see a couple different players that Texas recruited there in that feature picture, including a commit and Justin, 6A D1, going to be John Turntine. At least this prediction says John Turntine, North Crowley. takes the cake. And there's a lot of different guys that we've written about at North Crowley over the past couple days that Texas fans need to pay attention to.
Yeah, they're reloading. I think they just got a new quarterback too, as a matter of fact. So like North Crowley is trying to become one of those pillars of DFW in the state of Texas, and they're going to be really salty again. Jerry Outhouse is definitely a name to remember. I think Demarion Mays, I think he might be there at 2028 wide receiver. I'm trying to remember. Like they're just loaded right now, and so I don't. They lost their playmaker quarterback last year. I think he went to North Texas, but they replaced him with somebody. I just don't see Ray Gates letting that thing fall off.
6A D2 South Lake Carroll. Hey, another Power 4 commit at quarterback. They also have an Ohio State pledge and Brock Boyd, who I think maybe fans were a little surprised he got an offer from Ohio State, but this is someone.
Never doubt a Boyd, Joe.
That's a good point. It will be interesting to see if they can handle getting past Vandegrift and also getting past DeSoto too.
I think they've got the hog mollies. That's what I think Carroll has needed the last few years. They needed those big offensive linemen to be able to move DeSoto and Vandegrift off the ball. They've got that. They've got a Michigan commit in Tristan Dare. They've got another kid committed, the Wilson kid of 2027 O-lineman that's committed as well. That's the thing I think Riley Dodge has tried to do at South Lake Carroll is get bigger on the offensive line and defensive line. They've got the skill guys. They've always seemed to have the skill guys. It's just needing that size. I think that's going to be a big difference maker for them. Plus, they have a lot of experience coming back. Don't ever doubt Riley Dodge. If you give him a chance, he's going to beat you.
Justin, tell us how a high school football coach goes about making his offensive line bigger.
You get in there and you coach them hard.
That's not it.
And then you get in the weight room and you coach them even harder.
No.
And then while you're doing that, you hope and pray the kids that are being produced in your region move in.
Yeah.
Got them about the middle school years and can get development and learn those techniques and learn the offense early so that it translates when they get to high school. That is a surefire way to make your O-lineman bigger.
Do they have if you build it, they will come? Or does he actually have to go recruit middle schoolers and try to convince them?
Why are you – don't ask me that. Why? No, we're not doing this song and dance. Next.
5AD1. Ian, I think you know the answer to the question that you're asking, at least to some extent. 5AD1, Alito. That means Caden Finley. That means basically one of the best programs in the state. It's going to keep on humming. Justin, what about 5AD2 with Richmond Randall and their running back?
Man, let me tell you something. That bunch is good, and they're not falling off either. Look, I love what they're doing out there. Landon's he's my favorite back for 2027 in state. He is a little juggernaut. He is hell on wheels, man. Imagine Darren Sproles. That's essentially what Landon Williams-Callis is. And if you want to know his DNA, he's related to Jaquiz Rogers and those Rogers cats. I think they were Lamar Consolidated that went to Oregon State. That were wasn't Rogers like the Pac-12 Player of the Year? Like it was
USC basically single-handedly in a way.
Yeah, that's the family dynamic. This kid's been getting offers since the 8th grade. Brian Randall, the head coach there, is one of the coolest dudes you're going to meet, most hospitable dudes you're going to meet. He just opens his door and lets you talk to his guys. I loved going down there and hanging out with those guys. I love catching up with him after he won the state championship. It's kind of cool to go see him, and then they finally pull it off. And so they'll be back, and it'll be on the shoulders of the LWC. Randall
last year, Liberty Hill lost narrowly to Brenham. And Brenham went on to play Randall, and Liberty Hill kind of consoled themselves because Brenham barely beat him, and then Randall smoked Brenham. That's my understanding. And Liberty Hill was like, we were never going to get past that team anyway, so whatever. Next year.
Brenham's got a good young 2027 class. They've got a running back in Jacoby Dixon that's going to be a national guy. He kind of already is. Brenham's reloading, actually, which is good because Texas has dipped their toe in that water many, many times.
4A D1, Salina.
I will say Liberty Hill has like 2 or 3 kids this year that can run sub 11 100 meters.
There you go.
And then they have the Michigan defensive tackle, Alistair Vallejo. So they're pretty talented this year. When you read like Dave Campbell, it's just like, yeah, Liberty Hill, different, same song, different deal, you know. But they're a little more talented this year than they were last year.
Salina, 4A D1, Bo Bentley, having that type of talent is going to make it pretty easy. But
they could rematch. It could be a rematch with Kilgore because Kilgore just reloaded. They lost Jaden Sanders, but a lot of guys got older, stronger, and better. Kilgore's defensive line has actually got some D1 caliber kids. That could be an actual a rematch of sorts.
And Carthage, 4A D2.
I'm gonna tell you something. I mean, that's the team. Carthage 4A. I mean, it's Carthage. They're as loaded now as I think I've seen them ever. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous how much talent they have. And I'm not talking about the committed kids. I'm talking about the younger guys. But don't sleep on Gilmer. Let me tell you something. They have an offensive line at Gilmer that it's similar to Carthage. They got a D line at Gilmer that's similar to Carthage. Like, don't sleep on Gilmer. They have some crazy athletes coming up in 27 and 28, including the number 3 interior offensive lineman in Ismail Kamara in 2026. I would. That's a must watch game if those two head up.
What about you had some intel on KJ Edwards the other day? What's going on with him?
Yeah, so KJ's kind of wanting to look around a little bit. He's solid to A&M. There's nothing really there, but I think they're just being thorough. His dad's kind of they're talking about maybe taking a few visits, maybe seeing Texas, maybe seeing LSU. From what I can glean, Texas is very, very happy with Derek Cooper. They want to keep this a 1 running back class, and so I don't see Edwards being a possibility.
And then we'll go down 3A, Paradise and Wall. I don't know where Paradise
Malakoff is like 33-4 in the last 3 years. At some point, they're going to hit a wall. I think that's this year. Paradise might be they almost had it last year. I think that might be the team this year.
And then continuing on, Wall playing Gunter pretty close. I mean, Gunter's just one of those teams that you hear about when you see and turn on the TV and watch State. For Wall to be up there, that's an important one. You know what's surprising to not see in 2A, which is the smallest 11-man classification? Mart.
The Fighting Vaughn Cosby's.
Could have sworn I would see them here. They're not here. And then can't say I know where Gordon is or Jayton, but
I'm going to take a wild guess and say West Texas.
Probably is. Ian, what's going on the deep dive today?
Gordon High School is in Palo Pinto County, which I'm guessing is West Texas. I don't even know. Today,
you're not allowed to have 6-man football in East Texas. It's like against the law. It has to be West Texas. They will not let you do that in East Texas.
That's funny. Me and Paul are drafting the most dangerous opposing units on the schedule. So we go, okay, most dangerous quarterback.
Ohio State linebackers.
We don't do defense. We do offense this week.
I
think that that's a good one, though. Those guys are pretty freakish. It's a little bit like remember when they went in 05 and they had Laurinaitis was on the bench. They had
Laurinaitis, Hawk, and then maybe even Freeman.
It was Bobby Carpenter and AJ
Carpenter.
Hawk.
Yeah.
Carpenter, right. His dad played linebacker for the Giants, and that's why Bill Parcells drafted him.
They were both enormous. They were both fast.
The Anthony Scigliano guy was a second-round pick for the Jets. They had their top 3 linebackers went in the top 2 rounds.
Laurinaitis didn't even play. He was waiting.
Laurinaitis didn't play until I thought he was a freshman the next year. He was wasn't he a freshman on that 06 team that won the Natty? That beat Texas?
No, I think he was a sophomore by then.
Okay. But yeah, he wasn't a factor. The top 3 linebackers. Ohio State had the best 3 linebackers in the nation when Texas won the national championship in 2005. Those 3 guys were just unreal.
They were wild. Like they had like
big, fast, strong, and mean.
Yeah. You know what? On that subject, people are not going to like this, but by the end of that game, Vince Young did not want to run the ball anymore, and he was huffing and puffing. And he beat him anyway because it's a pass game. And it took them a minute to figure out how to bottle him up in the run game, and then he started throwing and just beat him anyway. But they like turned him over 2 or 3 times, and they put some real hits on him. And at the end of that game, he was like, Mac, do not call another run. I do not want to get tackled by those guys again. That was a nasty team.
Yeah, they were really good. So this one's going to be really good too. We'll talk about them over on Inside Texas. So make sure you join just for $1. The best recruiting intel, best team info, best coverage, best everything. 1 year of access to the Athletic included. And of course, get our guy, Paul Wadlington, his Thinking Texas Football, every position, every player, every opponent, every SEC team, a look at college football, and a look at the 2025 class. So got to get that. It is in the description as well. Ian, Justin, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.